Overall, I'm just feeling blessed, man. Just blessed to be here. I've worked my whole life to get, up until this point, to be where I'm at. And a lot of it wouldn't have happened without a lot of people sacrificing for me. So I'm just blessed to be here.
We're kind of at a stage of the year where you'll have seen teammates go through this in the past, this process. What's it like to now be there yourself and experiencing everything they'll have talked about?
I think just keeping a level head, and going into every situation, and taking the silver lining out of things, regardless of what it is, whether I'm waking up early, going to bed late, because I have interviews and meetings and I'm training and trying to get everything all combined into one for the draft in my rookie year. But kind of just looking at the brighter side of things, and just stopping for a moment to take a look around and take a breath and and just be happy that I'm doing everything I've set out to do.
I think your story is cool because when you look back to where you began, you're in Hawaii, which is kind of we don't get to see that part of the world
Yeah.
that often. Talk to me about your childhood growing up in Hawaii, and I know a lot is said about kind of your sibling rivalries, that kind of thing. What was your family life like growing up there?
Yeah, I grew up around all family. My grandpa was in the military, so we had a pretty nice piece of land that him and his brother built houses on. So there's about 6 to 8 houses on our property. And it was all family, it was all in the family. So I grew up with like 12 cousins, and then I had my two brothers. So everything was a competition, especially in my house, because we're all boys. So I mean, every little thing we did was a competition. Like who could eat food faster, who could drink a bottle of water the fastest, like and just stupid little things like that. But I mean, it kind of made me who I am today. My older brothers, kind of beating on me, making me tough. My mom and dad not letting me give up. Once we start something, you have to finish it. But I enjoyed every second of my childhood, man. I miss those days for sure.
I think I read somewhere you used to play Connect Four with your dad. That was your thing that you do with your dad.
Yeah.
Talking about that, how did that just become a tradition for you guys?
Well, it started because my dad was a counselor at our elementary school, and every morning, like before school started at breakfast in the cafeteria, he would be playing games with all the kids. Like that's how my dad is. Like he's competitive. Like he likes to play games. He's the counselor, so he's playing games with everybody. And my dad was always really good at Connect Four. So if anybody ever beat him at Connect Four, they'd get a pizza and a juice and a can of juice. Like we had this thing called canned juice. So it was the best thing ever in Hawaii. Like growing up, if you're a little kid, you know what a canned juice is. And if you beat him, you got a pizza and a canned juice. So that's kind of how it started. And we just always wanted to beat him.
I think it's cool as well. I mean, being a bit stereotypical, when you think of Hawaii, you think of this chilled back lifestyle where it's beaches. How do you become the animal on the field that we see when you grow up in a place like that? Is it almost flicking a switch between the two? How do you kind of differentiate? Is that two separate parts of your life, do you think?
Yes and no. Because I feel like the switch definitely there's a time for it and there's a time not, there's a time and place for things. But I also think it's just how I was raised, how my parents raised me, how my older brothers brought me up. It was just to be hard nosed, and whatever we want in life, like you're gonna have to go get it. Like everything's there, nothing's given. And I knew that I wanted to play football. I had dreams of playing in NFL since I was a little kid. And a lot of people just kind of laughed at me, but I mean, because like the island we're from, I mean, you don't see that often at all. So just, keeping my head down and grinding and, telling myself that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life and nobody's gonna stop me. Just kind of having that mindset. I feel like it took me to places I never thought I'd be.
Yeah, you kind of alluded to it there. Hawaii, I guess we don't typically see many players come out of Hawaii. How did that happen for you? And what was that area like in terms of were you always set up for success, or was it something you had to go out and find yourself?
Yeah, I mean, so the island I'm from Kauai, and there's only like 60,000 people there. And I just remember as a little kid, the only guy I ever knew that went to NFL from my island was Jordan Desan, and he played linebacker too. And my dad coached him in high school, so I just kind of always looked up to that guy. And yeah, I mean, it's tough, man. Just being from there, and my parents had to sacrifice a lot. Like my brother went to a different school. I actually went to high school on a different island. So when I was going into ninth grade, my freshman year of high school, they sent me to a different island to play football at St. Louis High School. And that's kind of where like my football career kind of started taking off a little bit. Like, because it was a big time football program. St. Louis is one of the biggest in the nation. Um, if I wanted to play, I was gonna have to compete. I was gonna have to be the best player on the field. And so it only raised my level of play. And I'm thankful that my parents did that for me. That was huge.
Forgive my ignorance, but would that be a commute to school? Would that be what would the journey look like to school if you're on a different island?
So I actually moved. I lived with my
Okay.
grandparents in high school. Yeah. So I flew over that summer, my eighth grade summer, going into my freshman year, and I moved in with my grandparents because my grandparents used to live on Kauai too, but they moved when my brother was a junior in high school. They moved with him to Oahu to go to St. Louis as well. So they just stayed there when it was my time because my brother graduated when I was going to be a freshman. So he kind of left and I came in. So it's kind of just my grandparents just told my parents like they'll stay and house me. So I'm very grateful for them.
We saw as well Nate recently. I believe he's just signed with the Steelers. Actually, I think that deal was announced
Yeah,
this week.
yeah.
How cool is it now to you'll be two brothers in the NFL? We see a lot of brothers to join that kind of brother club, and for two guys to have made it out from where you are from, how amazing will that be?
I mean, man, I can't even put it into words. I kind of get emotional talking about it. But it's crazy, man. We've dreamed about this since we were little kids. We used to talk about it when we were little kids, and we always wanted to be here one day, I kind of feel like that dream is just it's so close, man. We're right there to accomplishing all of our dreams. And I mean, whatever happens from here on out with the draft and our careers or whatever happens, I know that we have no regrets. I have no regrets. I've worked my tail off to get here. I've done everything in my power. I've controlled what I could control. So now it's just up to God, and um, I'm I'm pretty blessed to be in the situation I am.
When you get to the NFL, would you rather be playing against him or with him? I mean, playing against him, I imagine you're rushing him from time to time,
Yeah,
playing him. So what would
yeah,
you rather?
yeah. At first, I wanted to go to like the rival team of
Yeah.
like wherever my brother was, so I could play him twice a year. But now, I want to play on the same team as him, so I can see him every day in practice, so I can go against him every single day instead of just twice a year.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Tomlin's Steelers is not a bad place to be. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's not bad
yeah.
if that happens. But yeah, I mean, you've probably answered it in the previous questions. But what is your why? What drives you to be as good as you can be, to be great, to make this your life?
I'm definitely my family. I'm a big family guy. Um, and they've never supported, they've never not supported me. They never shied away from opportunities for me. And they've always pushed me to reach the highest level I could possibly reach. And I'm thankful for them because without them I wouldn't be here. And when I told them that this is what I wanted to do, like this is my dream. Like I want to pursue this dream. My parents didn't tuck their tails and hide and run from me and laugh in my face and tell me that it wasn't possible. They told me like, okay, like if you're gonna do this, we're gonna go all in. Like we're gonna be behind you. We're gonna support you. We're gonna do everything we can to get you where you want to go. Um, kind of just all the sacrifices everybody has made for me to be where I'm at now, to live on my dreams. I feel like kind of owe it to my mom and dad and my two brothers. To kind of see that through. Um, but yeah, I mean that's definitely my top motivation is my family.
But just before we move on to football, I wanted to ask you, away from football, away from competing, because this time of year, all we talk about is what you can do on the field. What do you do off the
Mm.
field? What makes you happy away from football and in everyday life?
Yeah, I mean, first thing first, I love hanging out with my boys. So anything with the boys, I'm all about the boys. Like whether that's golfing, I love golfing, going to the beach, playing video games, bowling, like just I like chilling on the couch watching movies, TV, binging a new TV show. I love playing cards too. Um, yeah, but just about anything that involves my family or my guys. That's kind of how I like to get away from football a little bit, take my mind off things.
So say you've got when your off day comes along in the NFL, what are you typically watching on TV? Are you watching a certain box set? What are you watching?
I'm probably like binge watching a new TV show, or like I'm gonna find like a movie that's like an underground movie that I've never seen before. Because like I've watched a lot of movies. Like I watch a lot of movies, probably. I watched a lot, so I usually try to look for a good like underground movie that I haven't seen before, or like a new TV show.
I like it. I mean, moving on to football, I mean, there's probably no bigger transition than Hawaii to Wisconsin in terms of climate and everything away. It's what was that like heading to Wisconsin?
Man, that was crazy. Like my freshman year, because I graduated high school early, so I enrolled early in college, and my first day was January, like sometime in mid-January. I mean, I come off the plane and it's like 10 degrees, freezing cold. There's snow everywhere, like there's ice. I'm like I've seen snow before, but like I haven't seen nothing like that or felt any cold like that. Like that was different, and I was just like, okay, like what did I get myself into? Like this is crazy. Um, but I think I adjusted to it well. And I actually liked it. I got to dress up a little bit, got to wear hoodies, sweats, wear shoes more, wear beanies, kind of do all things that I couldn't really do before in Hawaii, because there's only one season in Hawaii. So experiencing the four different seasons was pretty cool to me.
What was it about? I know you had a lot of offers. What was it about Wisconsin that kind of appealed to you most?
It was definitely the locker room, man. The locker room was different, different than any other locker room I've been in on my visits. Because at the end of the day, I mean, like people are gonna have facilities, they're gonna have nice weight rooms and fields, but I was really more attracted to the culture and the family, and just looking for a home away from home. That's what I felt when I was with like the guys in the locker room, man. Just to see the way they bonded, the way they took me in and embraced me. I mean, they didn't even know me, they just met me on my visit. So just seeing that was just like, wow, like it's different over here. Like people actually care. Like people genuinely care about each other. Like it's not every man for themselves.
I think from over here looking out there, if you don't get to watch college football, you still know about the Wisconsin fan base, and we get to see the viral videos,
Yeah.
like, playing, jump around. What is that like pre-game?
Man, man, the first time I experienced jump around, I had a thickened skin, I had adrenaline going through my body. It's just like people are going crazy. Like it looks like the stadium's moving, like shaking. I mean, I think I kind of feel like every single person in that stadium, uh, is is jumping around. Like nobody's thinking about really the football game or like what happened earlier or what's gonna happen in the future. Everybody's kind of in that present moment. So I think that's kind of a cool thing about it. Like everybody gets involved and it's kind of just a time when everybody can come together.
I think was the first one back after COVID against North Carolina, and it was like the first time in ages that you'd all got to do it. Do you remember that game? It kind of went viral. What was that game like?
Yeah, that was against Penn State at home. That was actually my first jump around because my freshman year was COVID.
Right,
So
yeah.
I didn't get to experience it till I didn't get to experience it till my sophomore year. So I mean, that stadium was rocking. I've never seen that much people before. Like I've never played in front of 86,000 before. And just man, that was crazy. I couldn't even hear.
Just talk to me. How much do you credit who you are today to Wisconsin and the person that you became across that time there? Do you think that played a huge part in who you are in the NFL?
100%. I think I mean Coach Chris, like Coach Leonard, all my boys, the training staff, the strength staff. That was kind of a time in my life where I was transitioning from a boy from Hawaii to a man. I was going to the real world now. Um, I think I've learned more about myself off the field than I did on the field at my time there. I learned how to be a team player, I learned how to be a hard worker, how to be tough, how to be a leader. And sometimes things aren't gonna go the way you always seem. Like since I was in high school, like I didn't really lose a football game. Like we didn't lose, we barely lost. We're always the top dogs, and we didn't have a really good season out of Wisconsin, so it was like kind of like, wow, like I've never really lost like this before. And I hate losing. I hate losing. So kind of just dealing with all of that and the atmosphere there was huge for me. And I think that they did a great job of developing me into a man.
How much did it knock you or impact you when Coach Chris leaves so suddenly as well? I know you spoke very openly about the media, but how big a part of that was getting over, and how tough did you find that?
Yeah, I mean, it was just unfortunate, you know. It's a business. Things happen, sometimes I can't really control what happens, and unfortunately he got let go. But I still talk to him to this day. That's my guy. Um, he flew all the way out to Hawaii just to see me after they lost the Rose Bowl in 2019 to Oregon. And he flew to Hawaii the next day just to like have dinner with me and my family. So that meant a lot to me because a lot of a lot of coaches that aren't like on the West Coast, like they don't come to Hawaii. Um, but just for him and two other coaches to come, especially after like a big loss like that, that kind of spoke volumes to me about how much he valued me and where he could see me fitting into his program, and our relationship just grew from there. And he's one of my closest people to me to this day, for sure.
Is there a player you faced in college? I mean, we see a lot of good offensive linemen coming into the draft. Is there anyone that you faced over your time in college that maybe gave you your toughest test or helped you learn more about yourself as a player than anyone else?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, Man, uh, there's two players for sure. There's one on my team that I used to go against every day, Jack Nelson. He plays tackle. And I mean, me and him used to go at it every single day, practice every single day. We kept score of who's winning in one-on-ones. From the first day we did one-on-ones, we've kept score. We're in the same grade, like we came in together. That's one of my boys, one of my best friends. So he's definitely, helped me grow my game a lot. And probably Dewan Jones, right tackle from Ohio State, went against him this last year, and he was pretty good. He was really good.
Big guy, big guy.
Yeah, he was he was massive.
Just to keep it on the Wisconsin theme, I know you've spoken about JJ Watt in the past. There's a lot said about his brothership in the NFL. Now you're kind of joining that group, having a brother in the NFL. How big an influence has he been? Have you had much of a chance to pick his brains as well?
Yeah, I'm actually more close to TJ Watt.
Okay.
Um, who plays outside backer for the Steelers as well. Uh, and yeah, I've learned a lot from him. He's taught me a lot of pass rush moves. I've watched him work out, and just seeing the level that I want to reach and seeing how far I have to go to get there. It's inspiring, just to see a guy of his caliber um go at it. And he still has time. He still makes time for me. He still talks to me. Like I'll text him, call him. Like he always answers. He's always there for me. Um, so just seeing that a guy of his stature, uh, doesn't like act like he's above anybody. It's pretty cool to see.
What is it as a kind of fellow edge rusher? What is it you think that makes him so special? Is it like he's that bend off the edge is just ridiculous at times, and that kind of that transition that he goes into the speed rush. What do you think it is?
I think it's just his tenacity and unwillingness to get to the quarterback. I think if you watch his film, sometimes he won't even hit his first move, but he doesn't stop. The guy goes when he's going, and he gets off the rock. Um, and he's a beast, man. He's a beast. He's unstoppable.
So I read one of your teammates talking about the ways that you get yourself hyped up for a game, and he said, "I can't say some of them because I don't think he'd appreciate me." Well, what happens in a locker room? What gets you psyched up for a game?
Man, there's a lot. There's a lot. I mean, not a lot, but like it's a lot to say. But I mean, it involves, just my family, like talking to my pops, talking to my brother, and just, kind of just thinking about them and listening to my music that gets me going. And then I just kind of go to dark place from there, uh, until it's game time.
What are you listening to pre-game to get you in the mood?
I gotta listen to three songs. I gotta listen to "In the Air Tonight" by Phil Collins. I gotta listen to "Untouchable" by NBA YoungBoy. And the last one I gotta listen to is Back in Black by AC/DC. Those I don't know why, but like for some those songs just get me going, man, and gets me ready to do my thing.
Is that every game? Those three, every game?
Yeah, every game. Like those are the last three songs I listen to. Like I just listen to like random music before, but then when I when there's like about 15 minutes left before we have to like get ready, I play those three songs.
Love that. I think at this time of year, you'll probably see tons of scouting reports written about yourself. Some you'll agree with, some you probably won't agree with. If you were to kind of sell yourself to teams in team interviews as well, how do you sell yourself as a player? What are you bringing to the team that drafts you?
I just tell them that if you want a dog, like I'm right here. I'm gonna give you everything I got every single day. And everybody says I'm too small and I can't play on the edge or whatever. But I mean, I've put it on tape. And I've said Dynamite come in small packages. I motor, tenacity, like I don't stop. Like I'm gonna win. I refuse to lose. That's just who I am. That's from the cloth I was cut. I won't take no for an answer.
I think some kind of analysts have kind of thrust you into this hybrid group of an edge rusher, if you will, kind of this modern hybrid edge rusher in the NFL. Do you kind of like that being categorized like that, or how do you feel about that tag that maybe you're given as a hybrid linebacker?
I mean it's whatever. I try not to really pay attention too much to that. Because I know all I need is a chance. All I need is a chance to and one team to believe in me, and and then from there I'll just show them what I can do. Whether that's a hybrid linebacker, off the ball linebacker, edge rusher, whatever they need me to do. I'm gonna put my best foot forward and give it everything I got.
Do you think your speed off the edge makes you unique in a way? I mean, you move a lot more burst than a lot of guys we see in that position. Do you think that's what makes you stand out in a way?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I think your get off is more than 50% of your pass rush. So you get off. But I also think that my motor um, is what separates me. My tenacity to get to the quarterback.
What have you made of those? Like you just mentioned, there's a lot of questions about your size. How do you deal with that? Because you get thrown those questions time after time. What do you make of those questions as well about your size?
I mean, I just got one thing to say for those people. I mean, Dynamite come in small packages.
Love that answer. Is there anyone in the league, I mean, besides TJ, that you kind of compare yourself to in a way? I know nobody's the same. You have your own unique kind of style, but is there anyone you take notes from and try to kind of emulate in a way?
Yeah, actually, I like to watch my brother. Even though we play two complete different positions. Um, I love watching his film. I love watching him do what he loves, and it kind of just motivates me and inspires me. I just to see the way he plays. He plays football the right way. He plays to the whistle, man, and he's my brother's grimy. He's nasty. He's physical. He's trying to finish guys. And he's the same as me. Like he hates to lose. Like he refuses. So just watching him play kind of just gets me motivated and kind of hypes me up a little bit to see my brother go out there and do his thing.
When you've spoken to teams, how often have they spoken about kind of can you play a 3-4 or 4-3? Have they asked you about kind of that ability to play both ways? What's been maybe the most common thing that they've asked you in terms of your on-field player?
Yeah, I mean, teams just want to know if I can play off the ball. If I can play in space. And I 100% can. I'm not worried about it at all because I know that whatever happens, that I'm gonna do everything that I can to be the best that I can be. So I'm not worried about it at all.
What was that combine experience like? Because it's something I'm sure you'll have watched over the years, and now to be a part of it, was it nerve-wracking, stressful, or was it everything you thought it would be?
Man, it was honestly more than I thought it was gonna be. Like I I didn't think it was gonna be like that. Like I had a great time. Like everyone, a lot of people say like the combine's tough because like there's so much meetings and you're up late, early mornings, a lot of doctor's appointments and stuff. But I mean, I kind of liked it. Like I was just living in the moment, man. I was just like look at me. I'm just a kid from Kalil. in Indianapolis at the NFL Combine. Like, who would have thought? So I was kind of just taking it all in and just like, you know what, like this is one of the greatest times of my life. This is a highlight of my life for sure. This is one of my many highlights. So I kind of just took it all in and I had a great time. It was a fun experience.
What's the support been like from back home, from a town that won't have seen many players leave the area to go on to the NFL? Has it been a lot of support from kind of back home?
Yeah. Everybody's rooting for me. Everybody's rooting for me and my brother to do big things. Uh, and eventually, I like to go back home and do something for the community and give back. Um, but I gotta get I gotta start my career first. I gotta get to where I want to go, and but eventually, I definitely want to go back and give back to my community. But they've been shown nothing but love and support.
Just a few final ones before I let you go. I wanted to ask you, who's your NFL idol growing up? Who did you watch and think, I want to be that guy or be in a similar position to that guy? Who did you look up to?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely watched Ray Lewis. He was always my favorite football player. I just the way he would take people's souls, man. It was just like this guy's different. You knew when Ray Lewis was on the field, man. Like he put fear in people's eyes. So that was my favorite player for sure growing up.
I think I know your answer to the next one, but a player you can't wait to face at the next level.
My brother for sure.
Have you spoken about that? I mean, should that happen, how good a jewel is that going to be? That's kind of be like back in the garden back home, like taking it a few years.
Oh, oh, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy because I know I'm gonna win against him. So, I mean, he's always been the bigger brother, the older brother, and he's always won our whole life. So, I'm gonna tell him it's a new era in town, bro. Like I'm here to take over.
And just final one, which player in the NFL, I guess maybe an edge rush partner, someone along that linebacker group, who do you want to play with at the next level? Anyone that you would love to be a teammate to?
Ooh, ooh, that's a great question. There's a lot of, I mean, definitely TJ Watt for sure. I love to play with him. Max Crosby, I love watching Max Crosby. Uh, Von Miller, just I could go on and on, but those are kind of the top three guys that I love to watch all the time.
Yeah, I love that. Look, it's I'll let you go off. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. And
Thank you
just
for having me.
from everyone here, wish you the best of luck over the next few weeks. Looking forward to seeing where
Thank
you
you.
land and hopefully we'll see you in London one day.
Appreciate it. I might have to make a trip.
Yeah, for sure. You'll be very welcome. So yeah, we look forward to it.
Sounds good.
Very much. Take care.
Aloha.